Hey, Cardinal fans, we're introducing a brand new segment here today, our podcast series called Heart of the Cardinal, where we dive into student-athlete stories. We'll talk with coaches. We'll talk about competition. We'll also talk about life, what's going on in these athletes and coaches' lives, how they got to where they're at, and it's all happening here in the Betsy M. Ross SportsLink studios. In our very first episode here today, joining us, football radio analyst Chris Radican. We'll talk with head coach of Ball State football, Mike Uremovich, and defensive lineman Darin Conley. Great conversations, Chris, to start off our Heart of the Cardinal series, to know the people, the coaches, and the athletes.
And you expect our head coach to be really well-versed and good at these interviews and everything. Darin Conley just is blown us away today with his the way he can talk about everything in his life, whether it's from football to gardening to, you'll see, and all that stuff. Very exciting, very great young man to talk to today.
It was awesome getting to know Coach U's background a little bit more as a coach and as a person growing up throughout his time in college football and in high school football as well as a coach. You mentioned Darin Conley. Great to talk about his field goal blocking prowess as well. Just a very good field goal blocker from last year as well. A lot of good content.
It was wonderful, and it was great to hear. We all can read the bios of these guys, but to get to know them personally and during this interview process has been a real treat for me.
So coming up, we'll have Coach U and Darin Conley, first edition of Heart of the Cardinal from the Betsy M. Ross studios.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. Gainbridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at Gainbridge.io.
Hey, Cardinal fans, we're in for our first edition of Heart of the Cardinal. Ball State football radio analyst Chris Radican, head coach of Ball State football, Mike Uremovich joining the show. Awesome time to sit down, talk some Ball State football. Coach, appreciate your time joining us on the show. Sounds like you had a pretty fun weekend.
Did. Had the Indy 500, had most of our coaching staff out there on Saturday. We cooked a 65-pound pig out there. My dad did. So it was a good time. It was a good race. Slow start to the race, but a good race.
It sounds like you have a chance to go quite often.
Yep. I think 32, 33 times I've been there in the last 35 years. So I've been going a lot. My dad started taking me as a kid, and Coach Knowles, our defense coordinator, his boys come out every year. So it's a good time.
Awesome.
Were you guys in the Coke lot or?
No, back in the day, I was in the Coke lot. Now we park in lot 6, which is kind of right behind the VIP parking where all those buses are there. A little older, more relaxed crowd over there than the Coke lot.
People go to bed over there.
They do. We do go to bed, yeah.
It seems like a perfect way. You were saying it happens right at the end of the portal window. You get a chance to go enjoy racing with your family and friends. What have the last couple of weeks been like from a football standpoint, from the portal standpoint, and you getting this team ready to go? Yeah,
so we finished. Our kids had finals, early May, and then we really had, I think it was 17 out of 22, 23 days of official visits. Guys coming in and out from the portal. We have 19 new players that we added to the roster that'll start here on June 2nd. And then you got the 25 new guys that came in January. So there's been a big roster turnover, which is what happens in college football in general, but especially with the new staff. And obviously we're excited about the guys that we're bringing in. The 25 guys that came in got a jump start on them with spring practice, but we have some older, mature guys coming in June here. So it'll be good to get, June 2nd will be the first time that I can actually walk into the room and know that that's our football team.
Yeah.
They're all staying. No, but those guys have all chosen to stay. The guys that are coming in, our staff set. So it is exciting because it is really the first time you're addressing your team for the fall.
And it takes a lot of steps to get to that point. You mentioned it, June 2nd's that first time. You started here. You've been in this for a couple of months now. And now for that to be the first time that you're addressing your team, that's a process.
It is. I mean, from being new, from hiring the staff to the ops people to getting the calendar set, there's just a lot to it. It's all fun. I enjoy all of it, and you got to like it because it's part of the job. But building a staff is the most important thing you can do because those guys are going to be with you, and they got to know what I expect from our program, what the university expects from our program, and then obviously recruiting the players that were on the team already to how we're going to use them, and then, going and recruiting the transfers and high school guys that we've got coming in. So it's really exciting. And, I say it to the team every year, and this is even before the portal. I've never been on a team that then the very next year, every single person came back and every coach came back. It's just, there's a lot of transition. So from June 2nd till after the bowl game, this is our team. So it's exciting to go face all the challenges that come with the football season.
And to touch on that staff portion you were just talking about, one of the things that's unique about your staff is all these guys, you have a history with almost every one of these guys. Either they played for you or you coached with them somewhere else. And so that obviously you can elaborate on that, made it for a pretty easy transition, getting them on board and then hitting the ground running with your terminology and your verbiage and everything like that.
Yeah, a lot of them have played and coached for me,
right,
or both, or there's only a couple of guys that I hadn't worked with or coached before. But yeah, the transition was easy because everybody knows what we do on offense. Everybody knows what we do on defense. We got 3 guys on the defensive side of the ball that have been coordinators in this scheme before. Obviously, Coach Knowles is back, but they're all speaking the same language from day one. And I've started on new staffs where it took us 5 weeks to get our playbook right because it was 4 different people from 4 different schools. So to be able to bypass all that and just start coaching our players was a big advantage for us in January.
Kind of puts you ahead of the game a little bit, right? As far as other new staffs around the country.
And we didn't go out on the road in January much. A lot of times I just never agreed with you start somewhere new, you welcome all the players, and then everybody hits the road until the second signing day, and their players are all by themselves for 30 days. So we picked our spots in January, but we met with our guys. We took them out to dinner. We got to know them. We had academic meetings. So most of our staff was here all January, which bought us another month. And it's not even about football. It's just getting to know each other and respect each other and know that we're going to work hard and know that they're going to work hard and setting the expectations, and us just being at the lifts physically, the coaches standing in there watching them lift, showing that it's important that they're working hard, but also that we care about them and want to be around them more than just on the field, So that goes a long way with the players, but it goes a long way with our staff too, to be able to see the guys that are doing a good job in the weight room.
Yeah, anybody who's ever coached knows that's the biggest portion of coaching is that relationship building, because they won't run through a brick wall for you until they trust you and they know you believe in them. And they know you love them.
And that's something we talk about all the time. And that trust has to be built between the coaches and the players and the players and the coaches. But then you also got to build it through your February running program in each other.
Yep.
Like I say it all the time, but shared adversity builds good teams. Like they have to go through hard things together. So when it is the fourth quarter and it is 4th down and 2, they look to their right and their left and they know those guys went through all the same stuff, didn't quit, are going to give their all on that play. So it's player to player too.
Yep. Great. That's a great point.
We're building toward the first game, of course, Purdue's August 30th. It's coming fast. We're almost to the month of June and have opportunity to get to Purdue. We'll talk football coming up a little bit more, Coach, but also want to dive about your journey too, as a football coach, as a person within the game of football, going all the way back to when it all first started. When you were in high school, you're thinking about coaching. Where did all of that for you spark? Why coaching football?
I had great youth coaches growing up, which kind of got me interested in coaching. Then I had unbelievable high school coaches, from position coaches to my high school head coach. I just had a really good experience. Obviously, I love the game of football, but just saw what my high school coaches did for me as a person, for the guys that I grew up with, to the program they built, to the lives they impacted. And that made me want to get into coaching. When I was a senior, I talked to my high school head coach, who I still talk with all the time, but he gave me terrible advice. I said, I want to coach one day. And he said, well, you got to play Division I football. Well, then I get into coaching football, and there's dudes that play D3, NAI, D2, it doesn't matter. But so I went to Purdue and tried to walk on and didn't make it, obviously. But I got lucky because a guy named Darin Conley was head coach at McCutcheon High School, and he was at the tryout because he had a player trying out. He probably looked at me and knew I wasn't going to make it too, and said, what are you trying out for? I see your shirts from Providence Catholic. I said, yeah, I want to coach. That's the only reason I'm doing this. And he said, well, how about you come help us out at McCutcheon? So while I was at Purdue, I coached a couple years for him, and then I coached a couple years of high school football at Providence, and that kind of got me started on my coaching journey. But it was good. I mean, instead of just standing on the field, I actually coached for 4 years while I was in college.
What was that like to be able to coach while you were in college?
Friday nights weren't as much fun as everybody else was having, because we would have our games, and then Coach Collar, God bless him, because he taught me the work that's required for football. That game's over on Friday. I thought you went home. No, we went in there and we watched that game film that Friday night until 1 a.m. so we could be ready when the kids came back Saturday morning at 8 o'clock to watch it with them. And then we'd start game planning the next opponent, because he had coached at Purdue. He knew what it was supposed to look like. And I'm lucky I started with him, because if you started with somebody else, you might not have known what it takes. And he had great teams in McCutcheon and beat a lot of people that had way better players than him.
Yeah. Were you guys in the HCC then? Do you remember?
I know that we played Hamilton Southeastern. Yeah. We beat them. That they were a lot smaller. We played Lafayette Jeff for the Sword every year. I remember that. Yeah. We went and played in the Bricky Bowl, Holbert Brickies, before they tore it down, which that's all my family's from up there. So that was cool for me. We played them in a sectional game. We lost one year. We won the sectional. We lost to Cathedral who would have known my kid would end up going there way later? But yeah, it was a great start. And then I got because of that experience, I got to be a Division III coach at Benedictine, and then became a GA, and kind of went from there.
When you look at all of those moments, Friday, 1:00 after a game, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go home. That first time you're not going to go home. When did you know that during your time as a coach at that moment that you wanted to do this long term? It wasn't just I want to coach. Now this is a long-term plan.
When I was in high school, the youth program would invite the juniors and seniors on the varsity to come help with the New Lenox Mustangs. It's a junior high football team. And so I did that. And it was kind of at that point I knew that's what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And then getting into high school was, yeah, this is really what I want to do. And then when I got my first opportunity to coach college, I'm like, you guys are going to pay me to do this all day. And they didn't pay me a lot at Benedictine, but I get to coach football all day and be around kids and recruit and just watch film like that. I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Coach, over the years, you've been an OC, you've coached O-line, DB, special teams coordinator. I looked through your bio, tried to study as much as I could. What was your favorite position to coach?
I was an O-line coach for most of my career.
See, that's making him really happy.
Yeah. My high school coach was an O-line coach. And when he retired, he was the winningest coach in the history of the state of Illinois. And he coached the O-line, and he would take these freshmen in high school that couldn't jump rope, that couldn't jump over a line, and they would come in 3 days a week all off season, and he would just develop them. And then they'd go win state their senior year. None of them were Division I players, but they knew the offense, they could execute it, and he made them tough and disciplined. And, he always told me, you'll always have a job if you can coach O-line. Always. And so, there's been times where I became a coordinator and they had a line coach already, or the head coach says, hey, you can be the coordinator, but I don't want you coaching the line as well, because that's a lot. So when I was at St. Francis, I did both. But then I kind of got into tight ends and running backs because that's what the head coach wanted me to do.
How did you manage that, a coordinator and an O-line coach? That's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I also, think that the coordinator really needs to be tied in with the line coach. And I'm saying this with all love and affection for quarterback coaches, but you can draw up as many routes as you want, but if you can't protect it, I don't care what you're drawing up, and this play might look great, but if your line can't block it, you can't do it. So I actually thought it was an advantage to have the line because I knew exactly what we were good at, and then I wouldn't put them in bad positions.
And now that you're calling the shots for this program, and you brought in Alex Barr, a guy who played for you, was a really good player for you at NC State. Is that why you brought him in? Because you have enough belief in him? It's a loaded question, right? Of course you do, but tell me about your relationship with him and why you brought him in here to do that.
He's a guy, when I coached him, that he's one of the smartest players I ever coached. And he wasn't, when he was getting ready to graduate, he made his run at the NFL. And I said, you ought to think about getting into coaching because you're one of the smartest guys I've ever coached. You relate to the other players on the team. He was a leader of our offensive team. And he ended up becoming a GA then when he didn't make the NFL. He came to Northern Illinois to be a GA for me. Then we went to Temple and brought him with. And then Coach Doran called and hired him back to NC State, and he was there. Then when I got to Butler, he became our O-line coach. Yep. So I've worked with him for 3 years in that role where I'm calling the plays, and he's the line coach, and he's really, really good.
And he's a guy you'd feel if you never went down and visited him the entire practice, you're good with what he's doing.
I try not to go down there because I screw him up. When I go down there, I start saying stuff that's different. He's got his own way of doing stuff. So when I walk down there, I wink at him, and he laughs, and I try to stay out of their way. But if you're not good there, you can't win. That's right. The same with the D-line. So, that's just big picture. That's why we've addressed both those positions. It doesn't even mean that we don't like what we have. You just have to have plenty of guys in O-line and D-line that can play because they're going to get hurt. And it doesn't matter how good everybody else is around them. If you're not good up front, you're not going to win.
Right.
Got to go back to it. High school coaching days. Favorite story you have from your first couple of weeks on the job as a coach?
I was only 2 years older than some of the kids, and one of the guys said, "What's going on at the fraternity house this Friday?" I said, "Don't worry about it, buddy," because they were 18 and I was 20. You know what I mean? I was young, so I'm not going to say his name because he still lives in Lafayette. But that actually was it was good for me because I had to find a way to relate to those kids, but also have them respect me because I wasn't that much older than them.
Yeah, that seems like there's a balance there. And you learn a lot of responsibilities at a young age.
Yeah, and it's something I talk to our GAs about because it's the hardest place to be a GA at as a graduate assistant is the place you got done playing at. Because, let's say you get done playing and they hire you as a GA. Well, let's be real. You were living with those guys. You were going out, hanging out and partying with those guys when you had big wins and all of those things. So, it's something I talk to our guys that are in our program. Like, listen, you're not their friend anymore. You can't live with them. You can't be roommates with these guys. They got to look at you differently. So it's something that I can talk to them about because I've lived through it.
Throughout your time as an assistant coach, going through the ranks, what did you learn most that helped set you up to be a head coach?
I was fortunate before I got my first head coaching job that I worked for my high school head coach who was really successful. I worked for Jeff Hand, who ran a really, really successful Division III football program. I worked for Coach Novak at Northern. And if you're familiar, Northern, when he took over, had the nation's longest losing streak. They had the worst facilities. They had no money. It was a bad job. And he found a way to win there. By recruiting tough kids and getting good young coaches in. And I really learned a lot from him. And then, when I became a head coach, I had to be myself, but I had learned good lessons from those guys. But then when I was done being head coach at St. Francis and went to NIU to work for Coach Dorn, after about 2 weeks, I just, we're sitting down there talking. I said, I'm the best assistant coach you have because I just got done being a head coach. If you never sat in that chair and got to make the final decision, it's easy to walk down the hallway and say, well, I would have done this or I would have done that. Well, all of those might be right. But at the end of the day, we're going to listen to everybody around the table, but the head coach got to make a decision.
That's right.
And you got to have certain principles you're going to stick to. And the coaches all mean well and they want to win, but hey man, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah. There's a school up in the region, Crown Point. I think they have like 6 or 7 former head coaches on their staff.
Coach Buzz.
And Coach Buzz has brought in all these guys and one of the reasons they're ascending now in the 6A level in Indiana is because they have so many head coaches. And you're exactly right. Every assistant thinks they can do it but they've never done it. So having a head coach is really. And
I value all of our assistants. I tell our GAs, I want your opinions when I ask them. And when we're having a discussion, I want it. But at some point, a decision has to be made. And sometimes it will be your idea. I just changed something that Coach Harmon brought up in a meeting this morning that was better than I had thought of. It was a great idea. That's why they're all sitting there. Yeah. But whoever's idea we go with, when that staff room door opens, it's all of our ideas.
Gotcha.
This is what we're doing.
Love that.
You know what I mean? Because we all got to be together. There's no way in hell we're going to get the team to be with us if we're not all together.
Right. And when you were coming up, Mick was talking about as you were ascending towards your head coaching role, did you keep a notebook on things to do and not to do? I
always kept all the binders of all the schedules and all the stuff. And then when I got to my first head coaching job at St. Francis, obviously every institution has different limitations, but a lot of it was based off of what Coach Novak did. As football's changed and the rules have changed a lot, I learned a lot from Coach Dorn, a lot from Coach Carey, but Coach Dorn's at NC State, was one of the most organized, analytical, every minute's planned out. Here's why we do it person. So, our calendar that we have right now is pretty dang close to what we used at NC State.
Cool. What's the one thing you did when you first became a head coach that you look back on and you go, it just makes you cringe. You're like, ugh, God, I was terrible at that. Or maybe you weren't.
No, I would say that, and I called Coach Novak. I said, I got this job. I said, what advice you got for me? And this sounds cold and hard, but he just said, man, if the guys aren't with you, you get them out because they either got to buy in or not. And I think my first couple of years there, I tried to get too many guys to come on board and tried to save is the wrong word. But, you get to a point where I've never cut a player. They've made decisions that made them not end up being with us, but when that's there, the sooner that player can move on, he's happier. But now I can take the time I was spending on him and spend it on somebody else that really wants to develop and get better. So I think the one mistake I made was try keep guys around regardless of their ability, just because I thought that I would be a failure if they weren't on the team anymore. But at some point, I don't care what industry you're in, you're either with us or you're not.
I love it.
You mentioned the binders. Do you still have all those binders?
I do. They've been moved like 5 times. And some of them are still in the boxes. And we're actually moving Monday. And my wife's like, we're moving these again. I'm like, I looked in one of those a couple years ago. So yeah. Now it's all digital. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. That's true. How often do you actually turn the pages in the binders now?
What I've done is I've got like 5 or 6 of the main ones that I've pulled out, and those go with me and those I'll open up from time to time. I will open those up. I'll look at them. Yep.
So short yardage, 4th and 2, games on the line. You're ready to go. What is your favorite play to run?
Whatever our
formation.
Offensive line can run.
Gotcha.
Because we have some years that we're really we've been talking about this ever since the end of spring ball. I don't think you can say this is our offense.
Sure.
Because now year 3, 4, 5, hopefully you've recruited to that. But even then, to say this is our offense, well, your quarterback might not be good at that, or your receivers might not be good at that. I've had years where our line was really good at gap schemes and just okay. and the zone plays. And then some years where we were last year at Butler, we were really, really good at wide zone. We weren't as good at gap plays.
Okay.
So my favorite plays, whatever, we're really good at running. And the backs, I mean, there's some backs that are really good downhill, running power, running counter. Some guys just see zone plays way better where they can get out there. So it's part of all we do all spring is we had to put it all in to kind of see what we thought we would be good at. Hey, these are the throws our quarterbacks are good at. These are the routes our receivers are good at running. And we're in the process right now of getting our June install together of, hey, this is our best stuff. That stuff's still in the book, but we're not going to run it this year.
So you don't practice a lot because you're not going to.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. You don't try to force that. So we need to get better at this because if you're not going to be good at it, you're not going
to be good at it. Now, I mean, we're not going to practice it and try to get better at it, but at some point it's, hey, man, we're really good at these things. We don't need that.
Yep.
I tell the guys when we're game planning, I've never, ever left a game on Saturday riding the plane home saying, man, I wish we'd had more plays on the sheet.
Never.
You know what I mean? It's usually, why do we have all this on there? Yep. So we found ways over the years to limit our game plans to where we can practice the same things over and over and over again and have a chance to go execute them. Because, you put a play in that's for this look, well, you ain't getting that look, that play.
You probably,
you know what I mean?
Probably won't.
So if it's not in at the end of spring ball, there's nothing new going in August.
Yep.
We self-scout, we go meet with colleges, we watch film all off season. We're looking for ideas all the time. But once we get through spring, this is our offense, man.
Over the years, through the clinics you've attended and AFCA or whatever you've gone to, who's the best O-line guy you've ever ran into?
The best O-line coach that I was fortunate to GA for him was Dan Roshar.
Okay.
So he was the O-line coach and offensive coordinator at Northern when I was a GA, and I was an aspiring O-line coach. He then went to Michigan State, and then he was coaching O-line for the Saints, won a Super Bowl down there, retired. And the Tulane coach got him out of retirement, and then the Bears just hired him this offseason. Yep. So he's back with the Chicago Bears, and he's coaching Joe Tooney, a kid that I coached at NC State. Right. So I texted Joe. I said, you got a way better coach than you had in college. So, keep winning. So, but he's the best by far.
Gotcha. Did you ever cross-train your linemen? Have some guys play guard and center, some guys play inside and outside? Yeah,
we try to get them to play two, and then the good ones can play 3 or 4 positions. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we got to play our best 5. And that's what we tell them all the time. So, yeah, you might be number 2 on the depth chart, but let's say our center gets hurt. Well, our next best guy might be our right tackle. So we got to move our right guard into center and bump that guy in. So when they're freshmen, they just play one spot. It's hard enough. Yeah. But going into spring ball, they'll play 2 for sure.
Love it. Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
Well, Coach, we're running out of time here with you, but when we're looking at Purdue on August 30th, we're a couple months away. What's running through your mind when you look at that date, August 30th?
I'm just worried about the run on June 2nd. I'm just telling you, I know this sounds bad, and I know we're going to talk all year. We only worry about ourselves until we're getting ready to play a game, and then we only worry about that game. The beauty of football is it's a 1-week season. Mm-hmm. It is. It is a whatever you did before, whatever you're going to do later does not matter. And I love coaching it because you got 1-week season, do everything you possibly can up until kickoff to go win that game. And then the next week you might be playing an option team and you might have lost your guard and your quarterback and your DN. So you as a staff and players have to find a way to get your players in the best position to go win that 1-week season. And then after that, it's another one. You might go from triple option to 5 wide. So it is unique. Every game and every week is a 1-week season. Then you look back at the end and see how you did. But there's nothing big picture about it. It's 1 week at a time. In the fall, in camp, it's 1 day at a time. We'll install first and second down for 7 days. Then we'll do red zone for 3 days, and we'll do third down for 3 days. Then we'll go back and hit it all again. And then we will get into Purdue prep. And because it's the first game, we'll spend 11 days on them, like a bye week, as opposed to just a normal 7 days.
I guess more so thinking that date is only a couple months away, more so than it being Purdue.
Yeah.
Just being that you've got June, July, August, and then within 3 months you're playing football.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I'm excited to get them here and get working, but we have so much stuff to do between now and even training camp just to get our guys ready.
So what does June then look like for the team?
So June, we got all of the returners and transfers will be here June 2nd, and they're lifting, they're running. We do get with the new rules now about an hour, 45, 2 hours a week to meet with them. And then they got summer classes going on. And then the 13th, the freshmen that we've signed, they're just graduating this last week and the next couple of weeks, they'll all show up. So if that can make them July, the coaches have some time away because that's their only time to be away. Our coaches will still be in during that time to see their guys, but it's not structured at all. It's just for them to come and go as they please. And then we'll come in the second to last week of July, meet for a week as a staff, and then training camp will start.
Well, awesome. Coach, you were excited to see what Ball State football looks like. I know you're excited for June 2nd and beyond. Appreciate you joining us on the first edition of Heart of the Cardinal. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. Gainbridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at Gainbridge.io.
We're back on this episode of Heart of the Cardinal, and joining us here today, Darin Conley of Ball State football. Darin, really appreciate your time and hope everything's going well.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
A couple days into everybody coming back. For you, when June hits, everybody rolls back in. You've got sign-ins, it's workouts. What's it been like for you the first couple days back?
It's been great. I'm gonna miss my family, but it's been good that I'm back here because I was just ready to get back, just itching. It's nice because we really don't have too much to do, so we just have workouts and then hang out for the rest of the day. I usually stay in the facility. So
we were talking about it right when we were walking up the new turf. How does that feel in the cleats?
It feels great. Like they can cut in it. It's not burning hot like the last one. So it's definitely a lot cooler, better. It looks nice. It looks really nice too.
It's
like
clean.
Yes.
It is very clean.
Like the red. It's just super bright. I love it.
Yeah.
We always talk about it on like grass fields, how players' cleats can dig in and have like a natural feel. With new turf, how does that feel when you paint the cleat?
It feels like grass.
Yeah.
Like really, it honestly does. It's not like you gotta watch where you step, but it's like you just cut and it's easy. Yeah. It's easy. It feels amazing.
And because of the way those new turf fields are constructed, it has a little bit of give, so it feels a little bouncy.
Yeah.
For now, 4 years it'll feel a little different.
Or,
you'll be gone by then.
It's and I've heard it's a lot safer too, I guess. Because I remember our spring game, it was kind of slippery, but it feels so much better now.
What'd you do?
You're used to the grass though.
Well, occasionally we played on what was called the AstroTurf.
No,
you don't know anything about it. It's like that right there.
Yeah.
That carpet right there. So
yeah.
And actually that's probably softer than some of the ones we played on.
You didn't use cleats. You used like turf shoes or something.
The little turf shoes with the little rubber nubs on the bottom. Yeah.
That's,
yeah. It was an ACL killer is what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you do at home in Kansas City while you were home?
Really hung out with family, worked a lot. I'm a teacher's assistant at a school called Allen Village. So I teach, kindergartners, first and second graders. So
God bless you.
Yeah. So it was, taught, do a lot of stuff. Like the day before we came back, we went to the zoo. So I had like 7 little girls running around the zoo. I had to make sure, I watched them.
That's like herding cats.
Yeah, it really is. And the zoo was super busy too.
Oh boy.
But, played a lot of golf. A lot of golf.
Yeah, also. Speaking my love language right now.
Yeah.
What kind of golfer are you?
So I'm getting better. My brother's really good. Okay. He got me started. My family played, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. So
what's the best part of your game right now?
My irons, I feel like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't hit my driver yet. I'm good at my 3-wood, and then my irons are really good. The worst part is chipping. I can't chip.
Short game?
Yeah, short game is not good yet. So
that's where you can make money. It's short games.
Yeah. So it's like when we have this time off, I'm going to go play golf and just have fun,
Good. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And did you have anything to eat, mom, home cooking or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. My family is kind of like when all the boys left, like they're like, we don't have to get too many groceries now. They don't got to feed all of us. So when I came back, it was kind of like, okay, they got to get back in the routine and start feeding. Cause, me and my other brother were back. So they were just trying to feed us and they're just used to eating a lot less.
Right.
And,
oh yeah. What's the one go-to dish at home that you can't wait to get when you get home?
Let's see. I really like some good. We usually, like on Sundays, cause my grandma lives right next door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we usually do, we make some really good chicken, greens, cabbage, and we usually, that's like the best for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Very
really
good.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Darin, how'd you get into football?
So I played growing up, like Pop Warner, football. And then throughout middle school, I played like 7th and 8th grade. Didn't play my freshman year, which I kind of regret. But then, sophomore through, now I've been playing. So really just, my brothers played and we all just were together on the same team. So
Who was your football inspiration?
right now I would probably say I don't have one guy, but I have been watching a lot of Aaron Donald.
Oh, yeah.
Choice.
Yeah,
Choice.
but I don't have one guy. I kind of like watch like the total defensive line. So lately I've been watching the Philadelphia Eagles. Their D line is very good.
They're sort of good. They're
Yeah.
not bad.
They're okay.
Yeah, and I've been watching them because like we have a lot of time now. So I just been in the facility just watching all their games. Yesterday I watched the Tampa Bay game and they got cooked, but it's good to see how they do good and like what things they do bad too.
When you're watching tape of like the Jalen Carters of the world for the Eagles, what are you watching for?
I'm watching for kind of like the stuff we do, but how he like executed himself. So, for example, like if he's doing a stunt step, how is he pushing off the inside of his foot? It's the little stuff like that. So I could be on the same play for 5 minutes, just, rewatching it, like, cause they were all in sync one play, pushing off the inside of their foot for a stunt step, or like how they reacted to what hands an O-lineman gave them. So just looking at a little stuff like that. I really don't care for the big plays or I'm just watching. I could care less where the ball goes, you know.
And last year you played in several different spots last year.
Yeah.
Do you like playing inside or outside better?
I really don't mind it at all. I like playing both.
Okay.
Inside, it's a lot different. Cause I moved last year, to inside and everything was a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So, and I felt I got more comfortable playing on the inside because it's just kind of straightforward and I don't have to really think.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing in, you have to think.
I thought last year, and to harken back to last year's season, I thought what you did at the end of the year was really good. The way you would slant and the way you would move and get off blocks really quickly. I thought you got a lot better as the year went on.
Yeah.
Like when you were playing in the 1 and the 3 and the 2I and things like that. And people who were watching, like, what's he talking about? He knows what I'm talking about. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, as the games went on, you could tell I got a lot less anxious and stuff. It was like first couple games, the lights are huge and everything. We're playing in cool stadiums, but it really, it just comes down to just your training, you know,
in practice.
Yeah.
Who's the one Ball State O-lineman that you can't stand to go against?
Really all of them all of them have their very unique traits. Tristan, he'll be here in a second. He's really good. He's very patient. Isaac Lucas, he has great hands. Luke Dalton, he's very strong and stout.
Yeah.
So they all have their unique traits. I wouldn't say one of them is like someone I would enjoy going against them. Because they give me great reps,
right?
You know? So it's not like if I hate going against them, I'm not going to go against them.
All right. True or false? O-linemen don't hold.
Very, very false. Very false.
I was going to say your answer makes or breaks the show. Very false. Okay. The confirmation for you. Cause you never held. You always told me you never held one in your life.
Not one time ever.
See?
Not one time ever.
This is what we deal with in the booth.
Wow. And I'm going to tell you right now, O-line coaches out there, every one of them, we teach holding.
Yeah.
Inside football right there. Yeah. You were talking about inside versus outside. Inside, you're trying to, on special teams, blocking field goals, extra points. Yeah. You had experience with that last year. What's the key to being able to block a kick?
Really, I think just the ball get off and just being aggressive, like I'm going to go block it. Like, every kind of kick, it's like I'm ready to go. Like I'm just waiting because I feel like when you have another guy like Smiley or Drew Hughes next to me, you're like, okay, we can go right through this guy and go block it. Yeah. So,
Your eyes were lighting up as you were talking about blocking a kick. Why?
yeah. It's just, that's probably one of the most straightforward, just, what is the word? Adrenaline plays. Like you just know if you get through, you can block it, you know. It was, I remember, the Central Michigan game.
Yep.
That was really fun. I looked it up and it was like 10 years it hasn't been a block kick.
2015.
So, 2015.
Yeah.
Wow. So it was just super cool. And I'm like, you can kind of like size the guy up and be like, oh yeah, I got this guy.
Yeah.
And it's usually every time I'm saying, oh yeah, I got this guy.
Because you're watching up film, you know which way they're stepping.
Yeah.
Probably you can counter that.
Yeah. And you watch enough film and you can pick out, okay, he's the weaker link.
Yep.
He doesn't step, and interlock his legs. That's what they teach them, to interlock their legs. And like if they put their head down, you can kind of get them off balance. So it's really like, if you know this guy's going to do this, you can just plan for it.
What's your signature move in pass rush?
I was talking with my coach about this. I really don't have one.
Okay.
I kind of like, my skill set is very diverse. And I don't have a go-to move that I'm like gonna fall back on every time.
What's your easiest? What do you do best?
I do a good long arm.
Long arms.
My arms are very long.
Yeah.
So, I use it to my advantage for sure.
It's a good move.
Yeah.
It's a really good move.
Yeah. Cause then I can kind of play off of it, like what I want to use, if long arm lift or long arm stab or, you know, so.
Love it.
Yeah.
When you're talking about special teams and being on the defensive line, pairing those two things together, we always see special teams come through in a clutch moment. Special teams always has an impact on the game. How do you embrace in your personal role, in your career, to be able to balance the special teams and play on the defensive line to make sure that you're doing both of those jobs to the best of your ability?
It's really about it really just comes down to, like, I feel like the film room. You can kind of, like, if you see you're number 2 or number whatever on the depth chart for special teams, you can kind of like just clock out and be like, oh, well, I might not, even be in the game for this. But it's really, when you watch film, you're like, okay, my moment is going to come up. And, if you're prepared for it, it's like studying for a test. If you're prepared for it, you know what you're going to do. You don't have to think about it. So it's really just how well you prepare for those moments in the game.
You talked a lot about film studying. What else have you learned about yourself while being at Ball State here the last couple of years?
Yeah, in the last couple of years, I've learned that I need to, every down, I need to play without thinking. Because some like you can see it on film sometimes, I play where I'm like, I kind of just do a little micro hesitation. And then I get myself blocked. So it's really just learning how to, play just like fluid, you know? Yeah.
How have you been able to grow with this new coaching staff?
I've been able to grow a lot. This coaching staff has taught me so much about football. And with Coach Sawicki, specifically, he's like, I've been with him a lot. He's been teaching me, not only like the techniques and how to perfect them. He's given us a lot of drills, to hone in on stuff that we're not as good at or stuff that we need to work on. And we've gotten so much better at it. And also just learning more about like coverages, that I've never learned about. Like what the quarterback is, like how his reads are going to be if we're in like cover 6 or something like that. So he's really taught us, just so much. And, that's been amazing for me, really.
What's Darin Conley doing tonight on his free time? What do you find yourself doing in your free time around Muncie in the summer?
Well, I'm going to be cooking a lot more because I got, time. So it'll be nice. I just went to the store yesterday, got me a whole bunch. I might make me some like, lettuce wraps today or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay. Any hobbies or anything like that?
I garden.
Other than golf.
I garden a lot.
That's 2 in a row, man.
Yeah.
What's in your garden?
Right now, I wish I have like a little patio outside. I wish I could grow stuff on it. I haven't started that yet, but inside I grow microgreens. So it's, radish.
I love it.
Yeah. Radish, broccoli, what am I growing? I'm growing mint. I'm just growing a lot. My room is very bright because I have a huge grow rack of like 6 shelves with just a whole bunch of microgreens, and I usually blend them up. They're really healthy for you.
Yeah.
So, but when I have an opportunity to grow outside, I grow. I pretty much have grown everything.
Where did this love of gardening come from?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Like no one in my family really gardened. When I started, I got my grandma into it, because she likes growing her own tomatoes and everything.
Okay.
So I helped her out with that. And, I always just plant a lot of flowers and stuff everywhere, but I love vegetable gardening. That's my favorite.
Okay.
You're in first place for best answer.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That.
We have landscaping so far, gardening, fishing has been pretty popular for the football team.
I plan to fish a lot too.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to find some better spots than the White River.
How did you end up in Muncie from Kansas City, the Kansas City area?
It was really just, my offer. And it was kind of like a surprising because I thought, so I'd offered to like Vanderbilt, before then, thought I was going to go there, but the coaches really weren't, like Muncie and Ball State just really felt like it was more home to me and more welcoming, inviting than, the other school. So I felt like it really shook out how it was supposed to be, really. And I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's great.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
A favorite spot on campus outside of the football facility?
I spent a lot of time in the atrium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spot.
I spent a lot of time in there. Just really eating because they have good food. So.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. And it's all you can eat too. So I go there a lot.
I love it.
Yeah.
Darren, before we let you go here on Heart of the Cardinal, is there anything that we haven't talked about that Ball State fans might find interesting about you? Maybe something that maybe many people don't know about you.
I'd have to think about that because I kind of went over some of that
You
other
did.
stuff.
Gardening is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
How about what would you tell, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself as somebody who's about to enter college?
Okay, so I would just be confident in going into college, especially football. Like you're there because you're supposed to be there. So it's good to have a sort of confidence and just be yourself, really. But it also is a good time to explore other things too, because you have a clean slate going into college, so you can be who you want to be. And I felt like I've learned that. If you really didn't like how your high school went or something, you can find new things to do, and at college especially, because Ball State has a lot of stuff to do. So
Right. No, absolutely.
yeah.
I just thought of one more. You being a defensive lineman, you being an offensive lineman, how much do offensive linemen help you be a better defensive lineman?
Tremendously. Like me and Tristan are like, before then, it was, Mooch. He was here. After practices, we were always, like doing 1-on-1 reps, or like I would talk to him, like, how did you beat me on this rep? Like, what did, you do that made me do this? So we kind of just really just like, help each other out because, you gave me this, so I did that. Or, you, like opened your hip, so I went inside. So it's really just, and we help each other because the ultimate goal is beating someone else. So, you're kind of like, you don't want to give away your secrets, but at the end of the day, all it's going to do is get you better. So I'm going to tell you, hey, you did this, so this is what I'm going to do every time you do that. Keep doing it till you stop me, So that's just something that, I love to do with the guys that we have here, and really just like help each other. And we watch film together too sometimes.
That's cool.
You're like, hey, I did this. And I try to figure out like not what their calls are, but like how O-linemen communicate, period. So
how much do you and Mooch talk now that he's graduated and, pursuing pro ball?
Not too much, but I watch all his videos.
Yeah.
Like I'm just watching him. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool seeing that. So yeah, it's nice. It's like one of your guys doing stuff like that. Talk with Riley Tolsma too. So it's just, you can still learn from those guys too. And, they're good encouragement too. All the guys that have went on, they're good encouragement to tell you to keep going and everything. So
Love it.
yeah.
Well, Darin, it's been awesome to have you on here of Heart of the Cardinal.
Yep.
Appreciate you joining us, and best of luck this entire year. Can't wait to see what you have in store.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.